Hi there and welcome to the Fed Talks. My name is Nathan Hall and today we're joined by Innocent Drinks, the first time we're being joined for the brand. We have Maz from their commercial team, he looks after convenience, and also Kaual Patel, who is the owner of a Nisa store in the London area. Gents, welcome to the Fed Talks. Kaual, if we start with you from a retailer's point of view, I suppose we're going to be talking chilled juice, so how important is that as a category for you as a retailer?
Chilled juice is very important as a category for retailers now. And with growing health trends and consumers trending towards healthier habits. So it's important that you have a good range in both take ready to drink and take home varieties. I would strongly recommend, a good range, different variants, include smoothies, and, it's most parents, are more inclined to give their children fresh juice over your traditional carbonated soft drinks and so forth. And, the market is swinging towards that way. All the multiples list a good, strong range of chilled drinks from own label to branded ones. So it's logical that you would follow that same footstep and, stock a very good range.
Thanks, Kaual. And what's important to you from a product perspective as a retailer?
Brand is very important. Strong brands have that consumer backing and consumer confidence. Price point's always very good. As long as you're within a good price point. Price marks ones work really well. Quality and quality range is really important, and different variants. New flavors, seasonal flavors, they tend to work really well, and it keeps the customer engaged, keeps them interested, and then you can get those repeat sales, which is very useful, and keeps the basket topping up nicely.
Exactly. And Maz, if we move to you, Kaual has touched on chilled juice from his point of view. How well, from your point of view, as a brand, how important is chilled juice now for an independent convenience store?
Yeah, I mean, chilled juice, is an incredibly important category because, as Kaual, brilliantly touched upon, it plays a vital role in helping people live, healthier and make those healthier choices. It's part of everyday routines. When you look at the statistics, 7 in 10 households now buy into chilled juice. So, it appears across many different occasions. So that's breakfast, your classic orange juices and things like that, all the way through to like healthy refreshment. But now, especially, again, as Kaual touched upon brilliantly, those health trends. So people are looking for those additional functional benefits. Lots of importance. But ultimately, if we take convenience out of that equation for a moment, the reality is that less than 1 in 10 children and less than 1 in 5 adults are actually getting their 5 a day. So when you consider that, chilled juice is nothing but fruit, it makes it even more relevant than ever, because it's that source of fruit, it's that source of veg, and ultimately it helps people get towards that 5 a day. But if we bring convenience back into the picture, the opportunity becomes even bigger. Ultimately, there are over 50,000, I think, independent retailers across the country, and that most of them sit at the heart of their communities. So, they're perfectly placed to help their shoppers live better by, making those healthier options more accessible. And when you sort of pair the growing demand for chilled juice, you then ultimately create a category, or you have a category that drives sales, but also strengthens the role of those convenience stores in supporting those healthier lifestyles.
Maz, this year, what has Innocent been up to in terms of NPD?
Oh, I mean, brilliant question, Nathan. Really good question. We've been busy. And actually, really fittingly, as Kaual touched upon, in terms of Price Mark, we've actually launched our own Price Mark pack. It's a field that we've never played in before, so we're learning as we go. But ultimately, we've launched in a convenient 750ml format in 2 classic Innocent flavors, apple and smooth orange, and we've launched it at that sort of competitive price point of £2.49. And this has been launched with sort of 2 main groups in mind: the retailer, but also the customer. For the retailer, the key here for us is to drive consumer trust, but also ensure those strong margins, as ultimately, this is what retailers look for. But from a consumer perspective, it's all about delivering that trusted, Innocent quality at a price point that they can trust, especially nowadays when pockets are being squeezed ultimately. The next thing, which hopefully many people have seen, is our veg smoothies. And this is all sort of coming off the back of major consumer demand. 61% of shoppers are now seeking more veg-led options, whether that's from a flavor profile or from a sugar perspective, or even just from a vegetable perspective, just wanting to get more veg rather than just fruit into their diet. So these have come in two amazing flavors. One called Green Goodness, which has 25% veg, and that's led by cucumber, spinach, apple, and lemon flavors. And then a Red Goodness, which is 27% veg, and that's more of a cherry, beetroot, apple, and spinach type smoothie. So yeah, little bit more earthy, slightly less sweet, but ultimately still just as delicious. And then finally, we've been expanding our functional range again, as I touched upon in sort of in the first question, where those consumers are seeking those additional benefits, that added functionality, getting more than just a juice, and the vitamins as part of a juice. So we've expanded our range with shots, and we've targeted those three top health benefits that are sought by consumers. So firstly, immunity, and those are powered by ginger and turmeric, the classic flavors. Then we've got gut health, which is a blend of apple cider vinegar and millions of live cultures. And then ultimately we've got energy, which is powered again by that tart berry, which gives it that natural caffeine, as well as some added caffeine and B vitamins as well. So yeah, as you can see, very busy, but ultimately, that's what you need to do in a competitive landscape.
Fantastic. Yeah, the PMP is really exciting move. Where is it for the retailers tuning in? Where is it available for them? And how has it performed since it's been available? And as a brand, have you come across any challenges with this particular launch?
Yeah, so I mean, our price lock packs are currently available through both Booker and Nisa, and we've been really encouraged by the level of support that we've received from both of our partners, and it's ultimately that strong backing that gives us the confidence that we'll continue to see this format grow, and ultimately hearing sort of the feedback from retailers like Kaual helps us to be sure that this is the right move for a brand like ours, and to enter this space. Regarding performance, it's worth saying that PMP is a relatively new space for us. With that, we invested a lot of time up front in planning and sort of risk management to make sure that ultimately the launch landed well. And so one of the biggest learnings has been retailer behavior. What we find is that a lot of retailers are quite comfortable and quite happy with sort of the ranges they buy week in, week out. They know what their sort of communities and their customers like. So it's really understanding what drives them to switch their range up, what drives them to take on that new NPD, and ultimately what can convince them to switch. So it's that sort of insight that we're getting. It has been invaluable, because as we learn more, we can tailor our support and make it easier for those retailers to succeed with our NPD ultimately. Whilst it's been challenging, it's strengthening our approach, and hopefully that will help us build those better partnerships and support independent retailers like Kaual.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much, Maz. And then, Kaual, good going back to you just to wrap up from that retailer POV. What is it that made you consider trying it? Because I understand you're a stockist. And how is it performing in your store at this more competitive price point?
Super well. I couldn't be more happier with the volume that we're selling now. I mean, and speaking honestly, before we would stock Innocent only when it was a promotion, because we could never quite turn it around at the higher price point. Now we've got 2 permanent SKUs, which we're ordering in every couple of days. So we're selling loads more of it. It's a big brand. It's a renowned brand. It's got that consumer confidence behind it. I know a lot of retailers are on the fence about PMPs. However, because they're like, oh, your margin's restricted. You can't. There's no variation on price. But that's a good thing as well, because the consumer's got confidence. And to me, it's the volume and the rate we are now selling those PMPs at. My question would be, when are more coming? Because, it's, as you said, it's such a saturated market. The number of chilled juices out there, it's astonishing. But, in my store now, it's got a permanent fixture on the shelf, which will be there for as long as it will be now. And the rate of sale, it's outselling most of my other fresh orange juices and apples in the fridge, and it's great. It comes in case of 6. Quick turnaround, next one comes in, And it's moving from strength to strength, especially with the winter coming in now. Everybody wants your 5 a days. You're talking about that, but that little extra hit of vitamin C, it all plays a part, and I think it will only get stronger.
Definitely. Well, there you have it. That brings us to an end of the conversation. Maz and Kaual, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to hear from you both, and thanks for everyone that's tuned in.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Maz.
Thank you very much.